The story of Bridge to Terabithia is written by Catherine Patterson. Bridge to Terabithia is a work of children's literature about two lonely children who create a magic forest kingdom in their imaginations. The novel was written by Catherine Patterson and published in 1977 by Thomas Crowell. In 1978, it won the Newbery Medal. Patterson drew inspiration for the novel from a real event that occurred in August 1974 when her son's friend was struck dead by lightning. The novel's content has been the frequent target of censors and appears at number 8 on the American Library Association list of the 100 most frequently challenged books for the decade 1990 to 2000. It is studied in literature studies classes around the world. So the author is Catherine Patterson. Catherine Patterson was born on October 31, 1932 in China. When she was in 6th grade, she used to write plays that she and her classmates would perform. As an adult, she has written over 30 books. Two of Catherine's books have won the Newbery Medal. The Bridge to Terabithia and Jacob Have I Loved. In 1998, Catherine won the Hans Christian Andersen Award. Catherine and her books have also won many other awards, and Catherine is part of many groups that encourage reading. The summary of the story Bridge to Terabithia. Jesse Aarons is an 11-year-old boy living in a rural area of the South who loves to run. He dreams of becoming the fastest boy in the 5th grade. Jesse is quite insecure in his identity. He loves to paint and draw, but he knows very well that this labels him as a sissy in the eyes of the most of the society, particularly his father. Therefore, he built up the importance of winning in his mind that his father would be proud of. He practices each morning, always dreaming of his upcoming victory. However, when the races come around at recess, a new girl named Leslie Berkey ruined his dream. Even though she is a girl, she outruns everyone in the 5th grade, including Jesse Oliver Aarons. At first, Jesse disliked Leslie due to his humiliation defeat, but Jesse's initially dislike of Leslie soon disappears and they become best friends. They also build a secret fantasy land across the creek in the woods, which they called Terabithia, and they would be rulers of it. This is the place where they play all the time using their active imagination, defeating intruders on Terabithian territory, praying to the spirits of the grove to end a long spell of rain, and numerous other fantasies. The place is where they can be the purest version of themselves and forget the rest of the world. Leslie also introduces Jesse to the world of imagination and creativity, telling him the stories of such classics of literature as Moby Dick and Hamlet. All this also strengthens Jesse's artistic talent and ability, as Leslie supports his ambition. At home, they celebrate holidays together, such as Christmas, when Jesse gives Leslie a puppy and she gives him an expensive art set to develop his artistic talent, and Easter. When Leslie goes to church for the first time with Jesse, Leslie is impressed by the beauty of the story of Christ. However, she does not believe it is true. Due to a certain belief in religion, non-believers such as Leslie are doomed to hell. One day, the music teacher at school, Miss Edmonds, whom Jesse was long had a crush on, invites him to spend a day with her touring the art galleries in Washington. Jesse had a perfect day, but when he gets home, he is told that Leslie drowned in the creek and she died. Jesse is completely devastated with this news and goes through the stages of grief, denial, anger, fear, and sorrow because of Leslie's death. Leslie has raised him to new heights as the king of Terabithia, and now he feels lonely that without her. However, Eventually, he realizes that he can only keep Leslie's memory within him, and he needs to have courage to face this reality rather than by avoiding them. He brings his little sister Mabel to Terabithia and makes her its new queen, assuring that a part of Leslie will live as well.
Good day, everyone. My name is Alfie A. Ramos, and for the continuation of the story, I will be the one discussing the elements of the story. Jesse Oliver Aarons Jr. is the protagonist of the story. We consider Jesse Aaron is a round and a dynamic character, as his personality changes as the story progresses. Jesse Aarons is habitually fearful, angry, lonely, and depressed due to his family struggles. But he is a talented and artistic person, until she met Leslie, who changes his whole life. After Leslie's death, he goes through a lot of emotional stages until he realized something, and he became courageous enough to let go of his frustration and face the reality. Leslie Burke, round and a static character. She is also a protagonist of the story, best friend of Jesse Oliver Aaron. She shows complexity in her characteristic. She is a tomboyish girl and dresses unusual compared to the other girls. In recess time, she spent her time running with the boys, which is unusual for a normal girl, and even wins the race against them. Most of the time, she always hang around with Jesse, either in school or in Tarabithia. However, despite of her behavior, she is an intelligent, talented, imaginative, brave, and a kind girl. Throughout the story, her personality never changes, and she remains a loyal friend to Jesse. Mabel Aarons, a static character, Jesse's younger sister. She never changed as the story progresses. She is a kind person, and she also idolizes his older brother. She is the only sister that Jesse is comfortable with, and she became the queen of Tarabithia after Leslie's death. Point of view. The novel is written in a third-person, limited omniscient point of view, told from Jesse's perspective. Jesse is growing up, and the reader sees the process of maturing through his eyes. The reader also sees all Jesse's experiences through his point of view and understands how he interprets a certain events. Plot of the story. The plot of the story is episodic. Each chapter contains its own dilemma. The plot ranges chapter to chapter. Writing style. Descriptive. The author of this story is clearly using a metaphor describing object, place, person, and event in a very detailed manner. Second, expository. The author of this story also introduce and provide us with background information about the character, which is helpful to us readers. The tone of the story is joyful and depressing, as the story tackles about the fun and adventurous experience of the children, but it is quite sad as the children also experience hardship and painful suffering in life. This includes Leslie's death. Theme of the story: importance of friendship, escaping from the reality, quest for identity. Importance of friendship. One of the main themes in the novel is friendship, the relationship between Jesse and Leslie. The novel highlights the importance of friendship in how it helps a person develop at a personal level. Jesse and Leslie grow and mature because of their friendship, and they also learn how to deal with a reality that is often painful through their friendship. Jesse and Leslie complete one another, and they also push themselves to achieve their dreams and discover new things about themselves. Escaping from the reality. The fantastical realm of tarabithia, which Jesse and Leslie create and build together and then rule over as self-appointed king and queen, provides a necessary escape for both children. Tarabithia is a place where Jesse and Leslie are free to use their active imaginations away from the prying eyes of their classmates, where they can test the limits of their bravery and where they can be the purest version of themselves rather than to feel pressured in real life. Quest for identity. Because society expects them to behave in a certain way, Leslie and Jesse are always questioning who they really are and what they want in life. While Leslie is free to do whatever she wants, but Jesse is pressured to act in a certain way because he is a boy. And when he tries to do what he really wants other than what is generally accepted, he is criticized for it. Setting of the story. The novel Bridge to Tarabithia is set in a rural and agricultural area in the U.S. state of Virginia, in a fictional town called Lark Creek. Mostly of the story takes place at Lark Creek Elementary School and a forest area that they called Tarabithia. Here are the issues of the story: death, religion, violence. Death. The tragic death of Leslie Burke was unexpected. It was a sad and horrifying event that happened in the story, which is not good in children's literature. Religion. There is a conversation between Mabel and Leslie at the church. A conversation about Leslie's faith in God and questioning whether God is true or not. There is a certain belief in the story that those people who do not believe in God, such as Leslie, will be condemned into eternal damnation. This scenario is not quite appropriate for children's literature. Violence. In the novel, violence is quite noticeable throughout the story, such as bullying and abusive. Two of the main highlights of this event is when Janice Avery suffers from his father's abusive behavior. Second is when Jesse punched his younger sister due to his frustration and anger. This is also not good for the children's literature. Here are the values of the story: acceptance, friendship, and lastly, follow your heart. Acceptance. Acceptance is the only key to move on. Accepting certain things that will eventually happen in our life, including the death of our family. It may be hard and painful, but there is no point in denying and running away from the truth. Just like Jesse did, he tries to outrun the truth, but he cannot escape the reality until he begins to overcome his various fears and learn to face the reality and work through his problems rather than avoiding them. Friendship. Having a friend is one of the greatest gifts you will ever have. A friend that you can rely on, whether in good times or bad times. Not just any friend, but a good and a loyal friend. A kind of friend that will understand and support you and also help you grow as a person. This kind of relationship is priceless, just like Jesse and Leslie's friendship. Lastly, follow your heart. Everyone has their own passion and dreams in life. No matter what they say about you, follow what you want. This is your dreams and not their dream. The world will criticize you no matter what you do. So, you will just do whatever you want and follow the passion that you believe in. So, that would be all, classmates. Thank you for listening. Adios, everyone. Stay safe.